When Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League was released last February, it did so poorly not only in sales, but also in critics and user score, as you can see on Metacritic right here. In fact, it was so bad that Rocksteady Studios decided to go through some pretty drastic measures in order to try to get some people to actually play their game. One of those was basically giving away DLC for a promotional period if people actually bothered to play the game. And there was a slight uptick in people playing the game as a result of this, but that was some time ago. And since then, the player base has pretty much weaned off to almost nothing until now, because now they're going through even more drastic measures, which is essentially giving away the game on a Black Friday sales. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League on Steam for $3.49. Can Sweet Baby Bomb go any lower? And that's, of course, alluding to the fact that Sweet Baby Inc. was a consultant on this game, and this is actually the game that pretty much brought them into the public spotlight, but I'll get more on that in a moment. The epic Sweet Baby Inc. Bomb Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is currently 95% off on the Steam store for both the regular and deluxe versions. The standard edition of the game, ordinarily priced at $69.99, is currently offered via the online platform for just $3.49. That is insane to have a discount like that for a game of this magnitude. The digital deluxe edition, originally priced at $99.99, is only $4.99. Customers who want to upgrade a standard edition to a digital deluxe content pack priced at $34.99 will have to pay just $174. So you can see when I'm saying that they're practically giving away this game in comparison to how much they ordinarily are charging for it. Yeah, they're basically just giving it away because no one is actually playing it. And even then, the numbers for people playing it, like I said, is kind of uptick from what it usually was before they did the sale, but still not good. Even for a Black Friday sale, this is extreme. The latest failure by Arkhamverse developer Rocksteady lost parent company Warner Brothers Games an estimated $200 million. And it's not like they're really going to be making up that loss with this one. Sure, that making some money off of it is better than nothing. But when you really get down to it, this isn't going to make any significant dent. I mean, I know there are people who are buying it just for a joke or anything like that, but still, that's not going to chip away much of that $200 million loss that they had for Warner Brothers Games. The live service game failed to find an audience on any platform, and many blame that on the uninspired gameplay and a narrative that disrespects some of the world's most iconic superheroes while embracing identity politics. I'll get more onto the identity politics side of this too, because a lot of people are saying that's the large reason why this game failed. Other critics were trying to say that that's not the reason why it failed. It failed because of these other elements to it. I think identity politics or diversity and DEI and why this game failed are kind of hand in hand, because ordinarily when a company is starting to put this kind of stuff in their games, that just says that that's something that the company actually believes in. And if that's the case, then they're probably hiring people not because they're the best person for the job, but because they're the best person who checks the right boxes, which means they're not necessarily hiring the best people to work on their games. And as a result, you're going to have other issues with it too. Something that critics have been pointing out, even if they're trying to defend the identity politics element of this game. And these quality issues all centered around one company, Sweet Baby Inc. And you can see this screen grab right here of the credits where Sweet Baby Inc. is specifically credited with all their writing and other consultancy stuff that they did on the game. Kill the Justice League was the first major bomb that brought Kim Belair, narrative design company, into the light of day when gamers the world over became aware of its existence. Developers pay this firm top dollar to rework narratives and inject diversity, equity, and inclusion to improve ESG scores, while Belair and her minions in the gaming access journalism industry like to try and downplay their involvement. The company's narrative influence on Kill the Justice League is undeniable. And that's what sparked the creation of the group over on Steam, Sweet Baby Inc. Detected, basically pointing out anytime Sweet Baby Inc. is involved with consulting a game, or anytime a game is consulting with a company like Sweet Baby Inc., or they're trying to shoehorn in diversity, equity, and inclusion elements in order to try to improve their ESG score. Now, a lot of people will try to say that the reason the game failed is because Sweet Baby Inc. was involved with it. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I think Sweet Baby Inc. is more or less a symptom of the greater problem. And the greater problem is you have a company creating a game that are trying to shoehorn in diversity, equity, and inclusion elements within the game. because a studio like Rocksteady wouldn't necessarily be hiring a company like Sweet Baby Inc. to consult for them if they weren't already open to the idea about shoehorning these elements within their game. So I think the problem within the gaming industry is basically you have game studios right there who think that it's best for them to try to shoehorn in these elements in the games. And we're starting to see, after failures such as Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League and many other recent failures as examples, that this type of mentality just isn't really profitable for them. If you want to find the core of the game's narrative issues, look no further than the superhero bios that Sweet Baby Inc. wrote for the League members. The bios are written by members of the Suicide Squad, but there's a stark difference between someone like, say, Green Lantern when compared to Wonder Woman. Green Lantern's bio says, I guess he's a good role model for the kids if you want your kids to grow up to become know-it-all narcs. Now, here's what the game says about Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman, so named, I assume, because one wonders why a woman of her caliber and ancestry would leave paradise to play in the mud with us. In the League, she is a beacon of rational thought paired with profound empathy and strength and kindness in equal measures. She is a hero more so than any who surround her. It's subtle, but there's a real difference in how the game treats Wonder Woman as opposed to all the male Justice League members. And that's something a lot of gamers objected to, even if they didn't ordinarily care about identity politics elements, and even if they're not necessarily citing that as a reason why they didn't like this game. They didn't like the idea that this company was trying to disrespect or go out of its way seemingly to disrespect a lot of these male superhero characters simply because they're male superhero characters. I remember when this game first came out, a lot of the clips that were going around online, we had to deal with the final scene with Batman in it. And a lot of people are also objecting to the idea because at the time it was believed this was Kevin Conroy's last time voicing Batman. And they thought that it was pretty terrible with the way they finally had him go out. Fortunately, that turned out not to be the case, but still, it was pretty disrespectful how they decided to treat the character. And that's something, even if people didn't necessarily say that the woke elements were why this game failed, it failed because of all these other things, like they're disrespecting the characters, but they were only disrespecting the characters to begin with because you have a company like Sweet Baby Inc. involved and they basically just hate men. Additionally, Batman, in one of Kevin Conroy's final appearances as the Cape Crusader, is shot in the head by Harley Quinn in an alleyway while she berates him. Okay, so I already talked about that. The Suicide Squad Steam pricing comes after the digital deluxe edition went on sale on the Epic Game Store for just $4.99. The standard edition of the game was and still is priced at $69.99 at Epic, with the deluxe edition alone receiving the hefty discount. And right now it's showing the Steam charts, at least at this point when the article was written, about where it is right now. I went over to the Steam charts myself to take a look, and you've seen it's actually increased a little bit in the last 24 hours. It peaked at $13.17. If you go back before this sale actually started, you can see it's around 100 people actually playing, sometimes even less. So this sale right here is actually causing a boost in it. But if you look at the whole time since this game was released, you can see it peaked obviously right when it was released at just over 13,000 people playing it concurrently. So not good numbers right there. Then you see this little boost right here when they released the free DLC and that deal going on. And then it went back down again, and it kind of stayed that way for a while, but now it's going up again because they have this other sale. So maybe if they do stunts like this, they can actually get a little bit more people to play it, but still that's far too little in order to actually make any real dent in that $200 million deficit that they created as a result of all this. In all honesty, Warner Brothers Games is probably better suited just treating this game as a tax write-off. As of this writing, Kill the Justice League has 618 players. So, okay, I already kind of went over that. And yeah, that's pretty much it for this article. So like I said before, this is obviously a failure on the part of Sweet Baby Inc. and Rocksteady Studios. I'd say more so because they wanted to hire a company like Sweet Baby Inc. in order to try to insert these elements in it. But one thing that is good is a lot of companies are starting to understand that being kind of related to Sweet Baby Inc. or connected to them in any way, shape, or form is detrimental to them. So that's why a lot of them have been trying to take it more on the down low. Now, Sweet Baby Inc. themselves has even gone so far as to change up their website in order to remove any association with a lot of projects out there. So I think that's a good thing right now because you get a lot of companies trying to run away from this sort of thing, understanding that it is toxic for them as a company. But is that really going to save them in the long run? No, I don't think it is, because I think in their minds, being associated with Sweet Baby Inc. or other consultancy firms like them is why their games fail. And their games don't fail because of that. Their games fail because they're bad. And they're bad because they don't necessarily have the right priorities in line when they're actually setting out to make the game. They think they need to use it as a springboard in order to try to push their agenda. And when gamers get a hint of that, even if they don't necessarily know going into it that that's what it is, as they're playing it, they can kind of intuitively feel that, and that kind of turns away a lot of people for it, even if they're not necessarily politically active or if they don't care about this stuff. That's why you get something like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League when you have a lot of Access Media members even saying that it's not a very good game. You have overwhelming majority of gamers saying that the game is bad, and you can try to hide it all you want. It's really not going to help you. And I think that's a good thing for the industry as a whole, because a lot of these companies, they either have no other choice but to either try to renounce their old ways, get rid of a lot of the people at the studios who are trying to push this agenda and go back to making games that gamers actually want to play, or they're eventually going to go under and be replaced by other companies who are going to go back to make games that gamers want to play. Either way, I think that's good news right there. And we can pretty much tell right now within the industry that the pendulum is swinging back the other way. So I think we've already hit the peak woke of games. And now we're just going to have to wait and see whenever it's going to eventually get to the point where good games are going to take over again. But let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below. And also, if you haven't already, make sure you click that subscribe button if you want to stay up to date with the latest entertainment news. And don't forget to click that like button and share this video out there because it really helps out with the channel. Thank you.